moving on into the next conversation is what do we need to do? Because I think we have to scale businesses. We need businesses. How many businesses do you know, Kenyan businesses do you know that are in South Africa? How many do you know? How many Kenyan banks have even ventured to Nigeria? Zero.
None.
They can't.
Zero.
Nigeria is too big for them. It's the intimidation factor as a Kenyan bank to go to Nigeria is too much. How many Nigerian banks are in Kenya?
Like 5, 6.
I've just seen a Nigerian bank buy a South African bank. Yeah, Nigerian banks against us. So the Nigerians have reached a point where they've said, Africa, we are going to conquer it. Is that correct? Egyptians bank, Mauritius, banks from Morocco are in?
They're here.
Are in here. But us, how many markets? We go to markets that we feel we are bigger than them. But markets that are bigger than us, we get scared.
Right.
But yeah, that's why we need to cut our capability. Because I think as Kenyans, we have depth. If you go look at a bank in Kenya, their banking system, they have more depth in terms of capability, right? But you go to banks in Nigeria, because I've been there, you find they are massive, 600 branches.
Yes.
But they don't have, the technology is wanting. So they lack that depth, right? But why can they go to those markets, right? That's one of the things we need to ask ourselves. And what businesses do we think can take us to those markets? I think tech-led businesses can take us to those markets. So I think we need to encourage our kids to think about tech-led lending businesses that can live here and go to those markets. Any business that can go through boundaries. So even a regulatory framework, they should give us a significant level of headway to allow us to innovate in our own markets to be able to scale in those global markets. But closing, what do you think are some of the takeaways that you'd encourage your daughters and sons and the next generation, even people in our own area struggling? You know, sometimes being founders, entrepreneurs is not an age thing. Somebody your age also who is trying to do what you're trying to do 7 years ago, about to get shafted, same way. Is that correct? Or about to make the same mistake like me, buy a building to put their logo up there. Okay. Because you think you're going to use that building as an asset collateral, which, who is buying buildings? We don't even know how it works. So what are the things we need to take? What are your takeaways? And what are some of the things you need to encourage the next generation to think as you scale? What are some of the areas you think that are not in your typical textbook that you'd advise in your own areas, entrepreneurs moving forward? Because we have to leave people with hope. We still have to build global businesses. Is that correct? What are some of the things that you'd say they can look out for?
Okay. The first thing is growth doesn't have to be organic. You can grow by acquisition. So test it, go into partnership, or raise capital on the back of an acquisition, leverage it. So that's one of the things that as Kenyan business we haven't considered. You don't have to go to do a greenfield in your growth path. Bring in other people, or like-minded, and grow, scale by acquiring, or scale by franchising. Because that's another one. Franchise your business, your processes, transfer to someone else, let them run the business. Those are the areas, because sometimes in business we do a 5-year strategy and in there scaling is there. Sometimes we scale for the sake of scaling. Okay? So you start draining cash flows that you're generating from your core business that is doing very well, like you did in Rwanda. And there are other opportunities. Yeah, put your brand, go identify an agency in Rwanda. Give it, apply your brand there, your processes. Take minority. Don't have to have control. Take minority. Those are some of the things I would ask businessmen to consider than just going on opening branches. The people who acquired one of my businesses for me, they moved from a 3-branch business to a 40-branch business. In 2 years. Of course, the foundations will crack. So, slow to send. Be slow to send. In terms of, even when you decide it's time that I scale, do your homework, pay school fees. Okay? But also consider alternatives way of scaling, so franchising and growth by acquisition.
That's a great idea, because one of the things also in my current business we're doing, we realize that we're great technology builders, and what we are doing is white labeling our platform. You build technology, you say Kenyans, we are good at building tech, but for instance, I would think M-Pesa would have grown further if they are white labeled. If M-Pesa had white labeled their platform, they would be maybe in all our markets in Africa. Most telcos would have maybe said, I'm not going to build an M-Pesa platform. I'm going to white label. And then they would have been earning royalties from all the markets. Today, maybe they've only gone in Africa to 2 markets or 3. I don't know how many they've got. So white labeling may be the way to go if you're building technology platforms as you go along. So that's a good thing because it can take you, you can white label a platform. Today I've got customers, for instance, we talk to in Asia, we talk to in South America, who can take our platform and run with it because it's their own platform. They own the foot on the ground in terms of people who are going to execute. They can co-brand it themselves. You own the back office because today I see guys using Oracle here, surely.
Yes.
Me, I used to, not Oracle or any other product. I used to sit there for 20 years. I built, when some of the brands are not even known here, most of those American companies, I used to kill myself. Imagine.
Yes.
Train people, I pay. Send guys overseas, I pay. Come and hire salaries, I pay. And then I'm representing a brand. The moment the brand becomes dominant, because of us, guess what happens?
They come here.
Set
up an office.
And they hire my employees, who I trained from zero. So I ask myself, hey, what happened here? Mike, where we are managing risk. I say, how is this possible? So I realized this cannot be my end game. I can start with them, but at some point we have to build our own intellectual property. So my hope is that even ourselves in our new regime, as we are moving, the next regimes and our regimes where we are, we have to start looking at intellectual property, Kenya as a market, where you register intellectual property, not where they bully you. Where eventually what happens, if you become very successful, where are you going to keep your IP?
That's beyond.
You start thinking, hey, maybe I should keep my IP in Mauritius, maybe I should keep my IP in Ghana, maybe I should keep it in the US.
Yes.
Why? So we also need to realize that wealth in knowledge is going to go away from us if we're not careful. Is that correct? What are some of your takeaways?
Well, I think for me, when I look at it, is to scale, do what you love also. Because sometimes you want to do a business just because it's being done. You'll never be able to scale up on something you don't know. So it is good, even though you don't know it, please continue learning. Mike has also talked about those legal frameworks. You sign up with big organizations, but you never look at the dots. You never look at those dots. You will never scale because every time you try to scale, there'll always be a clause that puts you back. The other thing, be courageous.
You have to.
You will never grow unless you also take risks. You have to be very courageous. You have to set out there. And also come to us who have made mistakes and who have made something out of it. We are accessible. And sometimes you'll find the younger generation looks at us like vintage body, fossils. But sometimes when we are telling you don't step there, it's because you're trying to shorten your journey. The pains that we have undergone, we are trying to show you. So those are some of the things that you need to do. Then it's about learning about money. Our education system does not address financials. And it's something that we really need to look at. There's no kid who is coming out of school knowing other than debit, credit, and what is an asset, what is a liability. We were never taught about money.
At all.
So you'll find you invest. Every time you think you have made a kill, you think it's time to scale. Or every time you're very broke, you think, maybe if I entered the Zambian market, I can make a kill here. So you are never, very short-term and myopic planning. So those are some of the things that I have found out as key lesson. Then learn to listen. You are not going, there's listening, active listening. You are not being forced to take up everything. So often I go to organization and I start telling them, maybe you need to do this, you need this. Then they look at you. They are like, why haven't you done it for yourself? As we have made this multi-billion company, who are you to come and tell us what to do? You're giving us theories. But the reality is that you're also speaking from your personal experience because you can see. My last point would be timing. You have to know when to do what. When it comes to scaling, you need to have done a full front-end loading of the whole process. It is a process, it is not an event. You just don't wake up and you decide, DRC, I hear everybody is there. This is the new frontier. I have had other big people are also doing big business there. So you have to have timing because you know your business, you know what you want to achieve, and also you need to think about the future. We are talking of legacy, but the legacy really is, will my business survive me? My son, who is a computer scientist, looks at me and my small business is like, Mom, because the example I set for him is how to work for Safaricom, how to work for Chevron Global. That's what he knows. That is success. But this entrepreneurship we entered, we are not happening. We are not happy. He's not happy. He can't be able to get the kind of lifestyle he had. So even out of the pain of entrepreneurship, he's starting to see, I don't think I like this entrepreneurship. So it is really also showing this younger generation and telling them, this is where you start. The future belongs here because even for somebody, Chevron Oil, somebody put a seed and had to go through the trenches for that company to be that global. So for me, scalability is about opportunity, timing, planning, money, understanding money, and knowing who to work with. Talent also is very important. Who do you choose to work with? Who do you employ? Do you employ because you have a crisis, you have won a tender, then you go out there and you get somebody? So that's my 2 cents.
It's amazing, even as Lenny jumps in, and as we then start closing, I'd like you guys to think, as Lenny, as we tap into that conversation, is what is going to be your legacy conversation as we close. But one thing you've said that I just thought about, what I've found is, idea 1% in any great venture, 1% is the idea. 99% is execution. People think, it's only me this idea. I can guarantee you, many people have the idea. 99% is execution. But what I found that really, for me, has worked for me somehow, imagine when I have an idea, like I tell you, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
I say it. I said in a restaurant, somebody said that Mike is just a dreamer. Somebody the other day said, I said in another conversation, say in a restaurant, and a guy there, tell somebody, that guy is just dreaming. Is he going to do this? He doesn't realize. Be in 1.5 years, we'll have a book. We'll have that. But he will still be saying if Mike was
the dreamer.
So I figured out that sometimes you have to tell your dream. You know why? Because people will hold you accountable.
Yes.
My son asked me the other day, you're in podcast number? When are you going to have a TV show on Netflix? Imagine the guy's asking me.
Yes.
When? Tell me. Because I'm telling my friends in schools.
Yes.
So what happens, you tend to find pressure when you say your story. People think, because I say my story, people are going to copy. What copy? Lenny, if you're doing a business, you say you're going to become the biggest media agents in Africa, and you tell your kids and you tell everybody, they'll ask, this one even is a dreamer. But what happens, that 3 o'clock at night,
yes,
you think and say, what did I say yesterday? How am I going to do what I said? It's like telling yourself in your mind, you have to become successful. The people around you start questioning. Even your mother will ask you, kuliendaje? Your friend will ask you. Pauline ask you, how is it going? How is it going? How is it going? Because what you tend to do, you challenge yourself, And because you say it, it becomes part and parcel of your of a DNA. Is that correct?
Yes.
So maybe it's from my point there is telling people, don't be scared to share your journey. Because when you share your journey, as you said, Pauline will tell you, hey, even me, I'm interested.
Yes.
I can invest in your business. Sometimes the people who have invested in my business is because people I told a story, said, Mike, about that thing you tell them, are you raising money?
Yes.
But if you keep it to yourself, how are you going to know I have money to invest? It could be the most weirdest places. I could be working with you in Karura Forest. I tell you my plan.
Yes.
You tell me, but they have some spare cash. How much?
How much?
So you see, we need to encourage guys to share. We have this kind of thing of hiding. I'm doing my thing. I won't tell you. The other day, I told somebody, what are you doing? Which business plan? He told me, that's where. Mike, I can't tell you. I said, okay, you keep it. Because I don't know if I'm going to tell him.
Yes.
Give him just one thing and tell him, but there I heard somebody else has already done that idea.
Correct.
Elsewhere. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you can crowdsource knowledge.
Yeah.
Or you even, a founder who's looking for
He's
that
there.
kind of business and you direct
Absolutely.
them.
Even sitting you next to a plane. But don't say what you say. Anyway, Lenny, as we now go to a legacy story, what are some of the things, your takeaways, especially in your business, which I'm very keen to know how many media agencies have managed to transcend the second generation.
It's a great question.
Even Canada, I think it's still first generation.
Still first
Still is
generation.
first generation.
Great question, because actually Jeff Odundo, the former CEO of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, asked me that question. And what was one of the questions that actually got me to list on the Ibuka segment,
Okay.
which is now for companies that are looking to, at some point, do a capital raise. And there's only one in Kenya that has gone to the second generation, because it's a family business as well.
Okay.
Only one.
In your whole industry?
Yes.
All of you?
All of us. Some were really huge, and then when the founders fell out, they all collapsed.
Yes.
And it's very sad in that way. Because all these global agencies were all founded by individuals, and they made sure these things, that's why they have names.
McCann or whoever.
Yeah,
Gilvey.
Ogilvy, TBWA, those are people's names. Those are initials of people, DDB, those are people's initials. They managed to make sure that the businesses were set up to get to the second generation. So one of the key things that I found is there is a knowledge gap. A lot of us who've built businesses were very good at one particular industry. And that's why we became entrepreneurs in that industry, and we grew our business to a certain level. But it gets to a point now when you're talking about scaling, it's like the difference between driving a Vitz and driving a trailer, an 18-wheel trailer. You need different skills. I think sitting here, I think it's only Peter who has been able to jump across different industries and successfully build businesses in different industries. I'm still in the same industry I started out in.
Same.
And actually, that's one of the reasons why we also started a leadership program called Amalgam, because you realize you need totally different skills. And I think that's one thing that we need to have a clear reality of as entrepreneurs. If you're scaling, you need different skills. One of the biggest challenges we're facing right now because of scaling, tax. Tax becomes one of your biggest risks in your business. These guys wake up one morning and they put a tax on something, and suddenly your business model becomes extremely tough to operate. So things like how you're doing tax. What you also said, Pauline, thinking about scaling. How do we think about scaling? We're thinking about scaling my own business to become bigger. But you probably need expertise of somebody like Peter, who's telling you, no, what about an adjacent industry? This is where this thing is going. So we also need to look at acquiring knowledge from outside sources to help us see where we should be going in terms of our scaling. Not necessarily just doing the same thing, but bigger.
Capacity.
It could be doing something that is slightly different, and maybe something that you could develop expertise in very quickly, and that can help you to scale a lot faster. And the other one is now when it comes to capital raising, I mean, like for me, one of my biggest fears was unruly shareholders. Yeah. I have seen an AGM of a major bank stopped because guys didn't get lunch. The AGM was stopped. I've seen another one. There was fighting because of umbrellas. So that kind of thing gave me a lot of phobia. I'm like, no, I don't want shareholders. I don't want people to come into my business because of that. So it's also to talk to people who are in these sectors as well to understand what kind of people you want to attract into your business, so that experiences, say like Peter's experiences have taught me a lot. Peter, and I think, and also Paul Kukubo. Yeah, where you exited, well, then you came and bought back and so on. So I've seen those kind of things happening. So when you talk to a lot of these advisors, especially on capital, then they actually help you to understand the things that you can do, and they help you clarify what values you have and see what kind of capital you need to attract, so that is to enable you to scale.
There could be a board somewhere, a company that is undergoing turmoil.
Yes.
That run by a PE fund, maybe a founder. But those, the PE fund about to take over that business or trying to kick the CEO out, whatever, or before things become too bad, ideally they're thinking of bringing certain board members. Me, I call them scrum board members. They come and help you stabilize.
Yes.
They tell you, Hapa, we'll do what has to be done. And I feel it's quite sad that, and I hope that one of our legacy conversations out of what we do in Founders Battlefield is be able to have a repository of people like you guys, where when my business is going through, and Pauline has consulted for a few of these businesses that have eventually really struggled. And you think you'd realize the management and the board are totally misaligned. Totally misaligned. Some of these PE funds have people in the board that are very transactional, very academic. What they need is Peter's experience at that particular moment. Your experience to tell them and say, guys, how you're going to handle crisis is like this.
This way.
It's you're the one with the crisis. Because they'll say, let's go and hire an agency. They need to bring you, and say, Lenny, can you please be this board? Peter, can you sit in this board, guide us? Pauline, can you sit in this board and guide? Because maybe sitting in that board, you're going to say, hey, guys, no, hold on. I've been through this path.
Yes.
So one of the hopes we're going to do is, and I hope you guys, we're going to be there, is being eventually creating what we call a singular platform that allows some of the companies, founders, to reach out to you and say, you know me, I need Peter's capability. I think I need Pauline's capability. I need Renee's capability. To be honest, those are the people I need. Because first of all, how do I know you? Even how will I access you? So that's one of the things we're hoping to. We hope that this eventually, because you're going to have maybe 120 entrepreneurs that go through this.
Yes.
That's going to be a very rich pipeline of capability, right? That can save a lot of businesses from going belly up. Is that correct? I also think at the point when government we were doing this with government, and government was about to, the stakeholders were then not aligned with what I was trying to do or what we are doing, maybe at that point, what I should have required is a whole different set of board members.
Yes.
Who should have told me, Mike, the way you're going to handle this one is like A, B, C. But as you say, it's Hubri's business. You're there saying this and I'm going to maneuver. How can this person do like this? Yeah, okay, eventually there's an output. But maybe the output would have been differently. If maybe you had a different set of board members then. We don't know. At that, because maybe you need a different set of crop of people who say, no, let us figure out how to negotiate this issue differently for another kind of outcome. You get my point? Yes. So let's look out for that. As we close, Peter or anyone, can you go, if you think you've got your legacy closing conversation, which I ask everybody, and this legacy conversation is something we're going to hold you accountable. You know, this is public information.
Yes.
So whatever you say will be repeated to you in another forum. See you. Twende, as you wind up.
Okay. Specifically about the scaling topic, do it. Regardless of these fears and the things that we're talking about, it's better you do it and learn as you go. Then you start saying, Mike said, it's tough. Peter said, oh, you're making decisions without data. I'm not saying that you don't do it. Do it. Reach out. We are out here. The reason I actually went to consulting was part of my giving back. Because I realized there's an entrepreneur there who is going through the pain I went in 2004. Being auctioned, it's dark out there. They don't know how to come out of it. Yet I've lived it. And it's a skill that I sleep with. I might as well sell it. And that's why I'm actually consulting for SMEs. It's not that my businesses are struggling or I'm no longer chairman of my businesses. I just decided these 30 years that I've done this, surely this is worth to somebody else. And proof of concept has come because I'm consulting for firms. Sometimes I just go for analysis. Sometimes I go for transformation. There's people who want scaling, actually, is one of the things companies are approaching me for. Come and guide us on how we can scale. We are all here. And now, collaboration. We need to collaborate, all of us. If I go to audit or to help in business transformation for a particular SME, I still have to come and speak to you about how do they brand, how do they advertise. And let me tell you something, your space has changed. You know, I used to be his client. And the things Lenny used to do for me 15 years ago, you can't do them today. Yeah. And you come with a media schedule, with a TV station and legacy media. It cannot work. Now we've gone
new age.
So the entrepreneurs out there, step out, look for us, look for people like us to guide you. You don't want to give them, to put them in a way they control you, put it on an advisory board. You don't have to have a formal commercial board. Get an advisory board. Or a board for a project. Yeah, I'm getting into this project. I need you guys specifically for 6 months to a year. specifically for this. That's my advice for younger entrepreneurs.
Scrambled, yes, exactly. Great. Good point.
Great points, Peter. Yeah.
Closing.
I also say, like, the key things that you should be looking at is why. The why. Why are you scaling? Why do you want to scale? Be very clear in that. And then after that, then you start looking at the how you're going to do it. And I like that point that Peter made. You need advisory. You need proper governance. And the other thing that's very important, you need great talent and good succession planning. Like for me, I mean, like our company, like in 2020 when COVID hit, actually just a month before we went into lockdown, I lost my biggest client. We lost 60% of my business.
Wow.
And then COVID hit.
Hey.
So a lot of the people that I had put in place as going to be the guys who were going to take over into the future left the company because we had to do pay cuts, deep pay cuts of over 50%. People left. So we have to start rebuilding. So once you have a great talent pool and people that you have trained and you think they're going to succeed, make sure that you are able to sustain them there. And I'm sure we're going to have Ken Joroge on the program at some point in future. And Ken is one gentleman. I remember sitting with him in his office. I think it was in 2014. Ken was selling ringtones. And I was there also doing media plan for him. And now look at where Ken is. And the last time I met him, he told me, what I love is that I'm a 10% shareholder, but of $1 billion company. Instead of being a 100% owner of a $10 million company. So those kind of stories really encourage us. And as Peter said, seek out people who've done it before and make sure that your company at least can move. Let's go up to, let's say, challenge ourselves to the 5th generation. And that will be great success.
Wow. Interesting.
Wow, let me move a bit from the scalability, just from the business perspective. We're saying we're having genuine conversations. And for me, let me also look at the female business, female-led businesses, scalability. Time. It takes a lot of time to actually scale a business. It takes a lot of hours. And one of the things that I have seen, even with my colleagues, Mike, you know, I am also chair for Commonwealth Business Women Africa in Kenya, is that as a woman, you're juggling so many things. You have children, you have a husband, you have relatives, you know, you're playing black tax and everything. And one of the things, even when, whether corporate or whether you are scaling a business from whatever perspective, I always say, you know, you travel. You travel a lot. You're always in this location in the office. I make this joke. By the time you come back, you find you're the second wife. You're no longer the first. And those are the realities of an African woman doing business, that nobody gives you the time, neither the children, neither the husband, to actually be able to do business the way it's supposed to be done, because it's a very patriarchal society and male-dominated space. So for a woman, the one thing that I would say when you're scaling your business, timing is everything. Then also think through what it is that you want to achieve. Sometimes your mental health, your stability is more important than the scaling of the business. So sometimes, what are you willing to trade off? And you'll find that your most active life, you know, sometimes moments are between, you know, the child bearing and the child rearing age. So it becomes such a controversy for most of us, for the women, to actually be able to go with the business. I always remember a statement I have never forgotten. Like when I was doing all the scaling of Safaricom, I took a lot of time in there. And my own sister told me something. I have never admired you. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? I am such a success. And she told me, I don't admire you, Pauline. And I asked her why. Because your child is even my child.
You are not present.
You get? So that scalability, you also have to learn what are the sacrifices that you have to make at that particular time. And she told me, I never want to be promoted to those levels of yours. Or generally, as you grow your business, never want to be the biggest company where is the family unit is compromised. And even for men, it is something you want to spread the whole day. And when you go back, you're in the office very early in the morning, you're reading, gym at 6 a.m., you're reading the newspapers or whatever digital part you are, and then you get home every day when the children are asleep. So as we scale businesses, we also need to look at the whole person. How do I ensure? And for me, I want to be remembered. I always remember telling, even today I tell my people, your child is sick. What are you coming to do here? You're of no use to me. You're of no use to this business if you're coming to tell me your child is sick in the office. So call me, take your child to the hospital. Let's have a discussion when your mental capacity is good. So for me, I always say my legacy is one of humanity. It is one of growing businesses where I'll be remembered for having set the next generation into a more humane working environment. So when we scale, let's also not tear the human, so that you are with this team and they are actually literally half dead, so that you can accomplish this goal. I've been there. I've been in those trenches where you don't even know whether you're going south. You change bags, almost you're changing bags at the airport. Where, you also need to ask fundamental questions. Where is humanity in all that, and what are we trying to achieve? So scaling is good, but also don't just be driven by by the business itself. Sit back and reflect.
As you say that, Pauline, yesterday I called you, I told you that, or this week, I asked you, where are the women founders? We have a list of founders that we have put together for this activity. And I must tell you, and I'm very proud of you guys as a second group of people who, when I reached out to Peter, even Lenny said, I'll be there, Michael. I told you, I'll be there. I find it, and when I told you I'm looking for more women founders, I said, everybody is giving me the same 20 names. It's like amazing. I call somebody, they give me the same 20 names. I said, where are the women? As you said, you've clearly said that we should not aspire to build businesses, but at the behest of our family units, which is also in itself important. But then where are the women founders? I've been looking for them. I hear the same names, the same names. And even those same women founders, trying to get them to come on the show, very difficult, because what am I supposed to say? I don't want to expose my life. So I find it, and I would like to close by really thanking you. And sometimes it also saddens me when I talk to a founder who has gone through such significant, their story is so profound. And they tell you, no, I'm going to shoot in episode 20. I ask myself, this one, there's so much to share, but they want to shoot. So they want to be there in somewhere but nowhere. The conversation, hedging to see what happens. And I find it so pathetic, to be honest, because I just can't understand the person, because there's so much to share. You just need to step up. And I think the moment you realize, and I'm trying to do a study, is it an age thing? Is it the people who are below 40 or a certain age that immediately you realize, no, this is nonsense. Let me just go do my business. Okay? So if I look, for instance, only one founder, the first one, was below 35. Kevin. The rest you have to ask, it takes me 3 hours on average to convince you guys there's nothing. I called you, Mike, none. We say, done. Some entrepreneurs, it's a 3-hour conversation.
Really?
To convince somebody to come and just share information about themselves. Not even them. What have we talked about us? We've been honest.
Yes.
The reality people don't realize, people already know about you anyways.
Exactly.
So what are you going to be hiding? So you'd rather come and correct the story rather than waiting for other people to be speaking about it. Every time you go to a restaurant, unajua ule, amewacha bibi. Unajua ule. Biashara ilienda. Unajua ule amepigwa auction. Unajua ule wanataka fanya hivi. No, I don't understand. People know anyway.
Out there.
So I'm just saying, you can as well define the story. And this is a call, really, to you founders. And the challenges, you guys realize that your problems are opportunities for others to learn from. And you need to come and say your story. Otherwise, your story will be owned by other people.
Yes.
And so I want to thank you guys for being the men and the women in the arena. You'll be surprised. The conversations you've had today may change many people's careers, or many people's. Somebody's about to quit. Somebody's just been fired yesterday. To know that they have to wake up and be told no. Go. Somebody who is trying to figure out how to. You know what I mean. So we want to close by thanking you guys, and also looking forward to some of the conversations that you guys totally have validated. That the founders operating system, the conversations you're going to have in the future is what we need to be having beyond academics. Balance sheet we know. Yes. P&L we know. Michael Porter's 5 forces we know. Tunaweza fanya Google ChatGPT we move. Is that correct? Yeah. But I can't ChatGPT this conversation. Because where do I start? Right? So we want to thank you. God bless you. But at the same time is close this and thank the team behind this and the movement. And wishing you well in your book, which I really want to read. Wishing you well in your memoirs and books. And definitely wishing you well, bye-bye, in terms of what you're trying to do. And also your succession planning as build your business. I visited you recently and I saw how much you've expanded. So I guess we have to support each other. And we have to support the economy ahead and the founders ahead. I think building a movement is not about occasionally going to the streets and everything. We have to build it from within. And then be able to change our country. Right. So thank you for participating. And also we look forward to our next episode. Thank you.